I worked my hands inside first, then I lowered my head and pulled myself in. The slime oozed around my face, the red veins rubbed my skin raw. I held my breath and worked my way towards Sheena's feet. If I could make it halfway in and grab her feet, maybe I could yank her out. The blob pulsed, sucking me deep inside. I inched in, stretching towards Sheena's foot. My lungs were ready to burst. I couldn't hold my breath much longer. Closer. Closer. Aha! My finger closed around Sheena's flipper. I tugged hard. Harder. She started to move. No! Oh no! Sheena's flipper. It came off in my hand.
You can't scare me. Not with the basement of botany. Maybe a sentient dummy. Calling all creeps. Boo-dudes! Welcome to Calling All Creeps. I'm your host, Crispin Glover, and I'm here with a beepy lover.
Love those guys. How are you?
I'm great. I'm waking up. I was gonna drink my first sip of coffee on mic, but my coffee's gone now. I didn't even make it.
Shit, mine is too.
Yeah.
We could just bring the microphones with us and make more coffee. You can hear my Keurig be like,
Dave, you doing that Black Mountain Diamond Magic or whatever it is?
No.
What was the one that we used that gave us diarrhea all the time at work?
Oh yeah, I think it was called like Black Diamond.
Yeah, it was like it was a skiing reference because it was Green Mountain Coffee. That's why
it was Green Mountain, which is like I think that's like the name brand.
Yeah.
Like, is that owned? Who knows? But yeah, there was one called like Black Diamond, and it just gave us diarrhea every time.
Yeah, it tasted like shit.
But then again, thinking back to like how we ate in college, the coffee is a diuretic, and we basically only ate like pizza and like.
That's true.
Endless supply of gummy bears and sour ropes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think I would for a time do like the salad bar, which is so fucking horrendous to even think about now in a COVID age, on top of it being like a dorm fucking cafeteria.
I stopped with the salad bar when apparently somebody got like food poisoning. A couple people got food poisoning from it. And then we had an outbreak of H1N1.
Thanks, Obama, right?
And, well, what was the other thing that we had? There was swine flu, but there was
We had norovirus.
Yeah.
Which I got and had to go to the hospital. And then I think at that point I did stop with the salad bar. And I got like cereal every time I went.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun. Shit my pants. That was nice. We had do you remember when we were RAs? You remember Nicole M?
Yeah.
I don't want to dox her, but she did a nice thing where she
changed your diaper.
She changed my diaper.
How do you shit yourself?
What was weird is it was a cloth diaper, and I said, "What is this?" And she was like, "Well, we're going vintage."
Nice.
And I was in the hospital, and I had like the ambulance came, so because I was on the ground, like I passed out and I was on the ground, and Isaac found me. And I remember I couldn't like say anything, so I said, "Isaac, I'm bad, man."
So you were like the first guy to die in like a action movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, you're gonna make it.
Yeah. And and then so I had a garbage can full of my barf in my room, and that was just sort of that. Now it's like a time capsule of when I got sick. And Nicole went in there and like threw away my garbage can for me. She just threw the whole thing away.
But
she touched it. I was like, crazy.
So did you go to the hospital with a loaf in your pants?
Well, there's no loaves. It would be just like a smoothie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but maybe there might have been some little like a shot of wheatgrass in there. You know what I mean?
That's always, yeah. Hey, man, sickness is serious.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Take care of your holes and body. We wish all of you good health. And of course, as we always say here on the podcast, a large and healthy wiener.
That's right. I hope it dangles in the breeze and in the sun. And hey, for all you ladies, I hope your nip-naps are top shape.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy your clitoris.
Yeah. Keep a healthy pH in the pusser. And, all will be well for you, I'm sure.
Buy a bidet for that hole of yours.
Indeed. No matter your hole, wash it away with water. It's like, what rhymes with hole? Make it your goal.
Make it your goal to blast that hole.
That's right.
This book is Deep Trouble 2.
Yeah, speaking of holes.
It is the shortest book that R.L. Stine has ever written.
Still felt long.
It was 16,000 words, generally. Approximately 16,000 words.
Okay.
Making it the shortest.
Most of them were period and.
This is book 58. We're almost free of this curse. Song is still I'll Be Missing You by the Puff Daddy.
Wow. Good job.
Movies were Conspiracy Theory, a Julia Roberts and Mel Gibson thing.
Incredibly 90s cast.
Also very incredibly 90s. G.I. Jane, starring Demi Moore.
Sure.
I got into like a Google rabbit hole with that movie last night because I remember it being like a big deal. Being like, Demi Moore shaved her head and got ripped for this movie.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the movie, but I'm watching now to see if, like, it's basically she's like, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL and I want to be just like the men.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we got to give you special treatment. And she's like, And she gets, like, fucking ripped and does everything just like the men, but also, like, apparently, like, showers with the men and, like, is in all the places, like, working out with the men. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, how much of this is like a woman empowerment like movie about like, like the whole thing is just like women have been put down and they could accomplish anything else that like the men can, and it's like proving them wrong. But at the same time, it's like, it's like, well, we got to see her boobs in the movie. And I'm like, where is the line? And of course we know the time in Hollywood and the movies that were put out. So I'm just like, I wonder how far it goes either side. Like, does it break even in the end, or is it like,
or is it exploitative? Yeah,
exploitative is that's what I'm going for.
That is a very 90s thing. Yeah, everything's got to have boobies in it.
Yep. So on August 10th, Kylie Jenner was born.
Hey, congrats. Hey, Kylie, stop blowing me up. I'm taken, my lady.
Yeah. I mean,
who's she? Is she like a power couple with like somebody famous?
I don't know.
I don't know
a
anything
Kardashian.
About. Yeah, like they're all dating like famous people or something. I don't know. Why did I even go down this rabbit hole? I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, we've been waiting to go into celebrity gossip column on this podcast for so long now.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you finally opened it up to that.
Oh my God.
So let's just see who is Kylie Jenner dating. All right.
Yeah.
Scott.
Stapp.
No, it just says Scott. Like literally, I brought it up and it just says Scott. It's Travis Scott. Travis Scott.
Oh,
I know Travis Scott. He had his own McDonald's. I actually went to one of his concerts with Cody.
Oh, nice.
It was in Fortnite, but it was a concert. And let me tell you, it was actually really fucking cool.
Nice.
He was like, yo, Travis Scott has his own Fortnite concert. We went to it. Dude, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. This is unironic. Google it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I believe it.
So way to go, Travis Scott.
Good job.
And Kylie Jenner. I hope you guys have a lot of love together.
Yes.
Yeah. On August 31st, Don Mattingly's number 23 is retired by the New York Yankees.
Okay, nice.
This was my uncle's favorite baseball player.
Mattingly.
And because of that, my favorite baseball player, because I was like a kid, and he used to buy us a lot of baseball cards. Yeah. Also, there's all the jokes of the Simpsons episode that he's in. That's a great one. It's like those sideburns. Shave those sideburns. You know.
Is he passed on now, or
No,
is he
he's good.
still with us?
He's still hanging around.
Good.
Speaking of passed on, same day. I would say the most famous person to die.
Oh, I know what this is.
In the 90s. Passed away this day. Diana, Princess of Wales, dies in a car crash in a road tunnel in Paris.
Yep. Many Beanie Babies produced in her name.
Elton John was just like, I wrote this song for her. And you're like, no, you wrote the song before. And he's like, I changed the words. Shut up. I'm a #1 star.
You know, I did hear that song, he already had that in the can. And he ascribed it to Diana. But actually, it was about like being too close to a candle and farting. And like fearing that it'll like... sometimes I read this interview and he was like, yeah, if I fart near a candle and I'm too close, I feel like I might spontaneously combust. Like the air will follow back up my butthole and I'll blow up. I don't know. That was just that was something I read. I don't know. I read about this recently. I forget why, but I had no idea, and I have vague memories, and you might too, Dave, of like this being on the news that my parents were watching and stuff like that.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal. Like if you were alive at this point, you couldn't escape this.
Yeah, like
Massive.
us as kids only watching like Spider-Man on Fox, we still like knew all the ins and outs. Yeah. But I didn't know that the driver was fucked up, that he was drunk. Did you know that? Is that common knowledge?
No, I didn't know that. I know it was because they were like escaping paparazzi.
Well, that was, and then there's like an investigation, like how much did the paparazzi play into that? And, but yeah, also this driver had like some fucked up levels of something or other in his blood. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. That must have been central, like once they got the talk screen or whatever.
Of course. I mean, don't drink and drive.
For sure. Or whatever, barbiturates or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, if you're listening to us, like, we care. Don't do that.
Yeah, baby. I mean, look, live your life, do it responsibly. Not drugs, but like, you want to smoke a little J, you want to drink a little drink. Hey, we're not judging. But, be nice to yourself and others. We got a Sesame Street vibe this episode.
We sure do. We're like today, brought to you by smoking the letter J. Bye. Hope you have a big wiener.
Bye. Yeah. Love your neighbor's wiener.
No, love thy neighbor's wiener.
It's the 69th commandment.
Page 420, verse 69.
Sure.
316, Austin. Give me a hells yeah. Yeah. That's
time and place?
That's time and place.
Okay.
Shortest book. Book is short.
Oh, I have something. Just real quick, I want to read this. Dave, I'm going to show you here. This book came with the pullouts for like a bookmark and cards and stuff. Do you have it as well? Perfect.
Hells yeah.
So we can read together. I always like to read. If I have the card, I'll read like whatever it says on the back. First, it has the starring. Doesn't really matter. The setting. So it does take place back in the Caribbean, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And, we do love a cool setting, right? We love the mummy books because we go to Egypt, all that shit. Say What is a section you might know, listener, from previous episodes. It says they, and then there's a long M dash. They're giants. So that's nothing. I don't really give a fuck about that. The real deal. Deep Trouble is one of the best-selling Goosebump books of all time. So I knew that if I didn't write Deep Trouble 2, I'd be in deep trouble with my readers. If your favorite activity at the beach is collecting jellyfish, you'll love this book, R.L. Stine. So not great. Not worth it or exciting, but there you have it.
With the characters, he said that Billy Deep, our narrator, he's a real swell guy. Yeah. But the pun, he underlines the puns.
Yes. Yep.
And reel is like a fishing rod reel.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's I didn't know his first name was George, their uncle. Dr. George Deep, he's got a floating lab. You have to see it to believe it. And as you might guess, C is SEMEN. And that that's how you play the card game, Dave.
It's interesting that his name is George because I watched the episode this morning, and his name was Harold. They called him Uncle Harold the whole time. Yeah. The episode is fucking wild.
Damn. Do they make big monsters in it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's terrible. All the so basically it doesn't take place on a boat at all. It takes place on an island, and Ritter is like his assistant, and it's like there's like half fish people, and at one point they have to run away from a pufferfish that's shooting spikes at them. And it's got like episode 2 of it's got some like Jurassic Park vibes, but it's like the CG. It's basically they like green screen some lizards and spiders and stuff, and then just like place them in over the film. It's awful, but
Gotcha.
it's crazy because it's called Deep Trouble, but everything that we've read, and we said this in the last episode, is that it's actually Deep Trouble 2.
Yeah.
But after watching it, it is actually loosely based on Deep Trouble 2. It's crazy. It's insane, this book. It has like nothing to do with anything. Or the movie. Or no, the TV show. Got there. Yeah, but his name is Uncle Harold, and then later they just start, like, a guy just starts calling him Dr. Deep, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's all together. But,
all right.
But yeah, this book is the original book is a recipient of a Kids Choice Award.
Wow, really?
Which is kind of awesome. I only remember that because I listened to the beginning of our last episode. The Deep children are the second most recurring Goosebumps characters next to Carly Beth. They show up a lot in the horror world storylines. The next story they're featured in is Creep from the Deep. It also retcons this book entirely because they both take place at the same time, and kind of this one they ignore what happened. It's like a year after the original Deep Trouble, and there's no plankton or fish or whatever.
Creep from the Deep is a good name. I like that.
It really is. Really is. Deep Trouble is, yeah. This cover, I think I was going to say Jacobus is just kind of like whatever on them. But there was like a feature online, or I guess it was on TV or something, about the creation of this cover, and he had multiple different prototypes. One, like the giant goldfish that we see on the cover, like chasing Billy on the boat. There's like a couple different things that didn't make it, but this is the one that they settled on. It's fine. I mean, it's unexciting.
It's fine. I didn't even put it together that it was a goldfish because it looks like a fucked up little like pig piranha.
Yeah, its eyes are very pink.
It's got fangs.
Yeah.
Dave, did you know, I don't know if we've talked about this before, and this is a great thing to do like weeks before we end the podcast for good, but that Jacobus's name is Jacobus. That's how you pronounce it? Like he on Twitter, he told people how to pronounce it.
But he could have been lying.
What does he know?
You gonna believe everything you read online?
Yes.
Wow,
yeah, I am. And my homepage is Breitbart, so
okay.
Watch out.
Yeah. You sheep. You're one of the sheep.
Yeah, if you don't believe that, I'm not going to. Let's talk about the plot.
My new favorite thing, I am fully vaccinated, as are you, and I love calling it the sheeple shot. And I'm like, sure. I'm a proud owner of my sheeple shots.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you're going to say that and be like, these people, and I'm going to be like, yeah, call it that. Cool. No matter what you call it, you can call it like diarrhea blood. I'll be like, still happy to have it. Thank you.
Diarrhea blood is great. I hate when
That's
people...
my Goosebumps book name.
Like, I feel like old liberal women like to call it a Fauci ouchie. And it makes me want to throw up. I don't know why.
Yeah. They have like a Fauci ouchie shirt next to their rose all day shirt.
Yeah, and their Cuomo sexual shirt, which aged really well.
Jeepers. But yeah, Will and Sheena Deep are back with their good uncle, Dr. Deep.
Yeah.
And they're on the Cassandra.
Hey, shout out to our previous guest on the first episode, Deep Dave. Deep Dave, I hope you're doing well.
Hope you're deep.
Yeah, Dave's always deep.
Dickin'.
He does some deep dicking, and he strikes oil, and he rolls around in it, and he looks great.
Yeah. And he does a little prospector dance in the
He does. He shines. He goes, and then he shines his monocle, and does a little jig on the oil dance, and then he says, "You drink my milkshake." Right? Remember that?
What is that?
That's Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood.
Never seen it actually.
Yeah, he's like an oil man, and if you don't want spoilers, skip 15 seconds. He kills fucking that dude. I forget his name with a bowling pin. He like bludgeons this kid with a bowling pin, and then the movie ends.
Oh.
Yep. I remember in college.
Really, remember, people, don't strike another person.
Oh, spare yourself.
Oh!
In college, shout out again, David Daniel. I remember in class, and this was like, I mean, it had to be some poetry class, but it was like a full class. He's like sitting on his desk in his Clash t-shirt, and he's like, for some reason, There Will Be Blood, he brought up. And then he called it, I remember calling it like the most pretentious piece of shit he's ever seen.
I think I was there for that,
Were
too.
you in there?
That sounds very familiar.
I was going to say, I feel like you might have been there. But then I need to watch it again because there's dueling. It's also like one of the most revered movies. And I generally like Paul Thomas Anderson. So I don't know. I have to watch it again, but I'm afraid I'll be bored.
I hate to be bored.
I saw it in the movies with a girl named Linda.
Oh.
Before I met my lovely wife, I hung out with a girl named Linda. She stayed pants on the whole time.
Okay. I know people would be concerned after the last episode.
Yeah.
They'd want to worry.
And she stole... I have a picture... There's a book, a lovely book that has photos of Elliott Smith. And I let her borrow it, and then I decided she was weird, and I didn't want to see her again. So she now has that book for 15 years.
Cool.
Yeah, I bought a new one. It's fine. Anyway,
that one's for you, Linda. This episode is brought to you by Linda.
Linda, hope you're doing well.
Hope you'll have blood and book steal.
That's right.
Speaking of being afraid you'd be bored, let's give these people some plot.
People don't want to know the ins and outs of my little life, Dave.
No, I love those stories. I just think I am an uninteresting There Will Be Blood person.
It's probably an uninteresting movie, so we'll move on.
Well, as we know, we're just going to go through every single time you saw a woman in underwear for the next... That's what this podcast will become.
For 4 times, yeah.
Yeah. So we got 4 episodes. But if we include all the Sears catalogs, then we have endless supply of material.
Oh, real quick, I want to say when I was little, I did like the pictures of ladies in bras and underwears. And
Same.
I would accumulate the magazines that my mom would get in the mail. And at a certain point, I would cut out the pictures. And I would save them like ooh, for later. And I wasn't even like, spanking off at this point because I was still like 7 or 8 or something. So
where did you hide them? Was there like a Garfield book on your shelf that would like you'd pull it out and they'd all like fire out?
It was hollowed out. No, I kept them precariously underneath the sink in the guest bathroom. Downstairs, the most used bathroom. And my mom literally found, this is so comical, she found a paper trail. like little pieces of like cut out paper, like peripheral paper that like led in a trail to under the sink. And she found my stash. And she, luckily at that age, she thought it was funny.
Yeah. But recently, when she found your new stash, you got in trouble.
Oh, baby. When my wife found those the LL Bean doubloon pictures. Wait, doubloon's not a thing.
I think that's like pirate money.
Yeah, I think that's pirate money. What am I thinking of? Pantaloons? I don't know.
Bloomers.
Anyway, Dave, you should save me from this. Please put me out of my misery, and let's talk about the plot.
Well, there wasn't really plot to the underwear section, but I know in the summer you would get like bathing suits too.
I probably loved bathing suits. Yeah,
but like, yeah, every now and then you get like a full page spread. There'd be like a sale or something.
Sure,
it's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they always look so happy to be there. They're like, "Hey, what's up? I'm in my underwear," and you're like, "Oh, that's so nice. Nice to see you."
They are very wholesome, which is also adds to the humor.
It does. I don't think those exist anymore. Like, I don't get like a Target ad or something.
I don't either, but I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think you need to get like a newspaper or something for that.
Oh, okay. And as we know, print is dead. Will and Sheena Deep and Dr. D are back on the Cassandra 1 year later. He pretends his sister is an octopus in the beginning and just tickles her to death, which is odd. Then a giant shark attacks them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
forgot about
that. They escape and they go to tell Dr. D about the giant shark, but instead he's like, "Look at this fish. I don't know what it is." And they look through fish books and they're like, "It's a minnow, but it's huge."
Yeah. I think, I have that in my bad because he's a marine biologist.
Exactly.
He didn't know it was a fucking big minnow.
Yeah.
And I say this too because they made it a point in the book for Dr. D to be like, I've been scouring the journals for days trying to figure out what this fish is. And then Billy's like, "Isn't it a big minnow?" And he's like, "Holy shit."
Imagine if but you're a marine biologist and minnow is like the most basic fucking thing.
Right. It's a PetSmart fish.
Like, imagine if there was a squirrel that was like the size of a dog. And you'd be like, "I have no fucking idea what that is."
The idea of you losing perspective of what it looks like because it's now big is very funny.
I would love this to be like a movie, and he's just like, "Wait a second," and Billy puts a picture of a minnow on his iPad, and he just pitches to make it grow, and Dr. Deep loses his shit.
Yeah, Dave, you and I, we both used to have kittens, and they just disappeared, and now we have this other thing that's in our house. I don't know what it is.
It's fucking wild. Sometimes I used to have this wiener on me, but then it disappears for a while when I get excited.
Now you have something unrecognizable down there.
It's crazy. I need someone to come and Google it.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, so then there's a prank war going on, which I thought was unimportant. Turns out it is. But at one point, Billy thinks there's a human head in his fishbowl, but it turns out it's a realistic doll's head in the fishbowl, which houses a goldfish and a snail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like those little fish tank snails. They're cute.
They're very cute.
Mm-hmm. Did you used to have a snail for your various aquatic pets?
No.
Okay.
No. You?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't.
I always saw that snail trail leading into your bedroom.
Oh. Well, that was when I had the fissure.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the ointment.
Leaks.
Yeah, it leaks, and also I scoot. I scoot. My wife took a long time to train me out of that.
But while they're looking at the minnow, Dr. D is just like, "Yeah, there's this plankton around here I'm studying. It's real strange."
Mm-hmm. So he's trying to get the Krabby Patty secret formula.
Pretty much.
Right?
And he's like, "Yeah, give some of this plankton to your fucking goldfish. He'll love it." And I always thought it was weird that he has a fucking a goldfish is a weird pet for the ocean.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Weird.
Because it's not a saltwater fish.
No. And they do murder it later.
Yeah. But yeah, so he gets the stuff and he feeds it to him, and later the fucking goldfish grows massive and almost knocks over the boat.
Yeah.
Because it's huge and weighs down the boat. And also the snail grows huge.
Yeah.
And crushes Dr. D.
So funny. So funny.
You hear Dr. D talking, but it's from under. They're like, the snail can talk, but no, he's under the snail trail. He's under the folds of the snail.
He's under the snail and dreaming. Remember that Dave Matthews album? Okay.
I see your energy is level. It's through the roof, but
that did remind me of is it the first Austin Powers where the guy gets rolled over with the steamroller? That's one of the deaths. And he's like...
yeah, baby. Yeah, I think it is.
That it's genuinely funny because it's like 30 seconds and he's screaming but not moving. And the steamroller is very slow. That's the joke. And it did remind me of that because it's like, how the fuck...
How do you get stuck under the snail?
100%.
They also never figure out what happens to that snail. He's just in the hallway and they're like, we'll get to you later.
Yeah. We get distracted by other things at that point, which I guess we can go into, right?
Yeah, they released it into the saltwater. I Googled that people have been releasing their goldfish into the ocean because they're fucking stupid and saltwater, and they are surviving.
What?
Because apparently, like, goldfish can take up to an amount of saltwater.
Okay.
Even though they're freshwater fish, and they grow huge.
Okay.
Google it. It's wild.
I have seen, maybe those are koi that I've seen that look like...
I think a koi is just a big goldfish.
Is it?
Like a type of goldfish, yeah.
Hey,
but
marine biologists, get at us.
Yeah. They'd be like, no, goldfish are small. I couldn't understand any bigger version of it as a marine biologist.
Yeah. That's an entirely different species.
Then they decide to go swimming again, I think. Why do they get back into the water?
Billy wants to drown her or something.
Yeah, they go swimming again, and she just this is possibly the giniest section of any Goosebumps book ever.
Oh yeah, this actually happens though before the snail and the goldfish get big.
Does it?
Yeah. It's they're in the water because what's his face? Billy is obsessed with revenge, and he they're having like this prank war, and then he dunks, like chapter 8 starts with I dunked Sheena's head under the water. When she popped back up for air, I shouted shark. So he's just like trying to fuck with her in the water, and then there is like super like vagina talk for a while, and it turns out to be a big old jellyfish, which I again thought was like he did in chapter 2, like where it was like we thought it was a fucking stingray or something, but it was actually he was tickling Sheena.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because how could she get like entangled in a giant jellyfish and like be alive, right? Because those will fuck you up at their normal size. It'll hurt a lot.
Yeah. But this one like gloops her in. Like she's in there like a fucking Dungeons and Dragons gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
And he has to like fight in. But then it like lets her go because another giant jellyfish come and it like fucks that one.
Yeah. Yeah, they battle and then they fuck.
Yeah, it's like they Spice Girls 2 become one.
Yes.
Like they engulf each other.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, we should probably get out of the water.
Yeah. And
the giant shark wasn't...
yeah, that wasn't my cue.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the snail gets big, then the fish gets big, and then they throw the fish in the water. And the snail's still like running amok. They lose track of it, even though it's like the size of fucking a running back. And
he's like steering the boat and shit. He's like a captain now. He's like I'm the captain
it's
now.
Captain Smith from the Titanic. And then Dr. Ritter. Suddenly there's like footsteps from the top deck, and it's this guy, Dr. Ritter, and like two like henchmen, and they're like, "Hey, you guys okay?" And everybody's like
Bebop and Rocksteady.
yeah, exactly. and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing on this boat?" And they say, "Well, just we heard some commotion or something." And from where I don't understand this part, but and they're like, "No, we're fine." And then eventually Billy says, like, "We're not fine. My goldfish got big." And then Dr. Deep didn't know what it was. And and they're like, "Oh, well, now that you know that, we have to kill you." And Dr. Ritter turns out is also a marine biologist, scientist man, and he's up to no good out there in the old sea. So they capture the family, the Deeps, and they bring them back to their little vessel.
Yeah, and the plan, he said, "I've been injecting a growth hormone into the plankton beds in these waters. The fish who feed on the plankton grow to be very large.
Yeah.
You've seen the results yourself."
Yeah. Fish getting gains, Dave.
It's creatine.
It's creatine. It's whey protein.
They're just listening to Drown and Pool and
hell yeah,
hitting slamming iron.
Doing deadlifts, clanging and banging.
Mm-hmm. So he decides the easiest way to kill these kids is to put them in a raft, drive them to his boat, and then throw them off his boat.
That's right. It's more dramatic that way.
It surely is. But and then the only thing that can save you is if giant seagulls attack.
That's right. Yep.
I imagine this scene would be like dun 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 dun, like
yeah, or like Flight of the Bumblebee could play. Yeah, and what's interesting about the seagulls is seagulls famously don't have talons. They have webbed feet. No? Correct me if I'm wrong, all you entomologists. No, that's an insect doctor. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're a bird freak. I think they have webbed feet.
They're webbed. Yeah, I just Googled seagull feet, and the photos are so cute.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, see, that's sweet. I like it. I mean, they have little nails on there, I guess, but
they got little knobby knees.
Yeah. Look at that guy. You can't be mad at that guy. We'll post that to the gram. Save that pic.
Just Google seagull feet. It's so cute.
But yeah, two giant seagulls got mixed up in that plankton, started doing fucking Romanian deadlifts, and now they're jacked as hell, and they're coming for Dr. Ritter.
Yeah, and they're fighting Bulk and Skull.
That's right. That's right. And they attack the doctors with their apparently huge talons. And the Deeps manage to get away. They get in a lifeboat. They're like at sea for a full day or something, like at least overnight. Which
in a
is
thunderstorm.
Insane. Yeah.
They're like taking their shoes off to like bail the water.
Yeah, it's a real like beginning of third act of Castaway thing.
Yeah,
and then
Wilson floats away.
Wilson floats away. He gets it back. Fucks it, obviously.
That's how the blood got on.
That's how And he says, my dentist's name was James Spaulding. True story. Remember that line? Anyway,
I did a giggle when I saw it. I thought it was a funny thing.
It was a good line. Then they hit land. They're on this tiny island, which is nice, and they eat some coconuts and they're living it up. And then they get back in the boat. And but they get back in the boat.
Well, there's some crazy stuff because they get attacked by a giant crab.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So they're like chilling on the island. It's a small island. And then all of a sudden, like Billy is like trying to catch fish.
Yes.
And it's funny because like they're going to catch fish to eat.
Yeah.
And Sheena is just like, I caught this fish. And they're like, that's only a minnow. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, you know what they fucking look like.
Oh, now you know what they fucking look like.
But he goes out to catch a bigger fish and gets yanked down and has to escape a huge crab.
Yeah. Which is a funny thing to envision because it does come on the island and like chase them down. And as we know, crabs walk sideways. So it's just very funny to envision. And it eventually goes away or whatever. And then a wild thing happens where their boat floats away and then it gets dragged back by like a pod of dolphins.
that are massive.
Yes.
They're whale-sized dolphins.
Right. And they're like somehow entangled in a lifeboat. I don't get that. But they bring it to the island, and then they're like, "Hey, hop on board," and everybody gets in, and then the dolphins bring them back to their boat, to their the Cassandra. And who's on the Cassandra? By the way, dolphins at that moment disentangle and go away. So that's a nice magical event. And then Dr. Ritter is on their boat waiting for them. Somehow he knew. And he's like, I'm going to murder all of you now. And then he kind of goes off the deep end, and he's like, no pun intended. And he's like, go.
You hear a gunshot, and Ritter falls to the ground. Mm-hmm. You see a spot on his lab coat turn red.
Yeah.
He's been shot. The gun smoke rises. You look, and you hear, "Mind if I join this party?" And they go, "Snail!" And Snail's there holding a handgun. The end.
Oh my God, Dave. That is a great punch-up.
I wish he would have like a "Mind if I join this party?"
Oh, hell yeah. A Kano. A Kano joining.
"Mind if I cut in?"
Yeah. My laser eye. Hey, what are you doing? Splashing about? You splashing about?
Splashing about? Vagina. That's from our previous episode.
Yeah, perhaps you forgot about our
Deep
perfect
Dave,
jokes.
Yeah. This one goes out to all the Australian listeners.
Yeah, shout out Down Under.
But that's as perfect as that would be. That's not the ending.
That's not what it is. In fact, what it is that Dr. Ritter says, like, "Billy, I'm going to force you to drink my plankton." And so Billy is like, "Well, I guess I have to drink this plankton." And Dr. D is like, "Don't do it." And he's like, "I'm going to do it." And he drinks it, and nothing happens because Dr. Ritter insists that if you're a person and you consume this stuff, which is, as we've established, it's simply a growth hormone, which exists in the real world. So we didn't need to do this, but you turn into a fish if you're a human. It transforms you.
And apparently one of his goons, like Squat or Babu, I forget which one, they fucking...
Yeah.
One of them became a fish.
Yeah.
He's like, he became a marlin, and he's out playing tag with fish.
That's right. Yeah. And, I mean, Billy just goes for it. Props to him. He's like, yeah, I'll fucking drink this. And nothing happens. So then, fucking Dr. Ritter's going to get caught somehow?
Yeah, so basically, like, then Dr. Deep just, like, fucking goes, like, ape shit on him.
Yeah.
And beats the shit out of him. And then they're like, "There's 3 of us and only 1 of you, so we will win."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You'll never take me alive." So he like
yeah, it is that.
Chugs a vial and like becomes a fish.
Yeah, because they tie him up and they're like, we're gonna like put you in jail.
Yeah.
And he drinks the thing and becomes a fish. And it turns out, this is how it ties back, as Dave said, to the pranks. Usually they are meaningless, and RL uses them only to like sort of obfuscate like what's a monster and like what's a me just sort of saying fooled you. But this time, one of the pranks was that Billy dumped out a vial of plankton proactively and refilled it with iced tea, and he said, "I'm going to get Sheena in here and I'm going to drink this in front of her, and she's going to be so grossed out that she'll say ew or something
and like puke." She's like, "You would have puked."
Yeah. And I mean, it worked in this case because he chose the iced tea vial. And who's laughing now? Now they're cooking up Dr. Ritter for fucking breakfast.
Yeah. And then she's like, "I did the same joke."
That's right.
And then she drinks it. And she goes, "Wait a second. Was that the right one?"
Scary.
I don't know if you've ever, like, picked up the wrong drink and held it to your nose.
Uh-huh.
And one of it I don't know, fish shit or something.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to tell the difference before you chug it.
Yes. Yeah, between iced tea and fish shit. That's true.
Or, like, it hits your tongue and you're like, ew, fish shit, and you spit it out.
Yeah, anyone who's ever had an aquatic animal, you know, like, when it's time to change the tank, it smells fucking putrid.
Yeah. But
anyway.
And then, as we know from the other books, she's still a girl, so maybe that was just a whole nother prank.
It worked out. Everything's fine.
Everything's great.
I'm just glad they're not like aliens from another planet in this one.
Yeah, you realize that, like, Dr. Deep, like, the world of marine biology, like, didn't they get kidnapped and held at gunpoint last book too?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
because they like found a mermaid and they wanted the mermaid to go to like the zoo. So like the zoo people had guns and shit. Like there's always.
Yeah.
They spend every summer with their uncle, who is at gunpoint at least 3 times a month.
yeah. And not that long ago, like it happens every year.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing to think about. I wonder if I like this book more than the first one. Now that you put it that way, because I forgot the first one's about mermaids, and RL reminds you in like the first chapter of this book, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't like that.
I like this one more.
Yeah.
I think we really liked the setting of the other one.
Yeah.
It's new. It's fresh. There was some fun stuff in it. We liked Billy as a character. I feel like he's shittier in this one than he was last time.
Yeah.
But another thing, R.L. Stein said that he relates the most to Billy. Billy's like a reflection of him as a young kid, which is okay. But yeah, I think the story is good in this one. It's fun. It keeps moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So do you have any good writing?
Yeah, I will preface, I'll say I enjoyed it overall, but I don't have a ton of good, just because I think it's a solid entry, but there's nothing where I'm like, whoa, that's pretty fucking great. But there, because of the setting, it lends itself to some nice description. RL can kind of branch out and talk about different things. So there's some Caribbean talk, there's some setting, placing you in the scene. On page 1, it says, I breathed in a big gulp of salty air. I just like that. I think that's a nice way to put that. He's doing his job as a writer. On page 8, this is about Sheena. She's younger than I am. She's only 11, but she acts like an old lady sometimes. She hates games. She likes cold, hard facts. Oh, that was very funny. It's like she's a private eye or something. On page 25, this will be my last thing too. Just another nice description of some fish. I scanned the horizon too. No signs of a fin anywhere. A school of lemon yellow fish drifted by, glowing like little suns in the water. Swimming slowly, I followed them to the coral reef. I like that. Lemon yellow fish is a nice descriptor. Glowing like little suns. Just some nice, description and sensory detail. How about you, Dave?
I like in chapter 11, after the jellyfish fuck, it says they left a foamy, frothy mess.
Okay. Sure. Don't we all?
In the first book, they already established that Dr. Deep is a weird fish pervert.
Yeah.
You remember, like, he got depressed around Christmas time because he couldn't be on the ocean, so he just, like, laid naked in the bathtub for days and just ordered people around like
that's
a
right.
sea captain.
Yeah.
So this is where he jerks off to fish. This is after he discovers the giant minnow. He goes, now kids, no more jokes, please. I'm going back to the lab to examine that giant minnow, and I don't want to be disturbed. I got the new Sears catalog. I found this under the sink.
Hey, if the tank is a rockin', don't come a knocking. All right, Dave?
And then there were some sentences. This has been a crazy week, so I only read it on my phone. So I just copy and pasted sentences that I liked.
That's great for
and
notes.
As I was doing that, I realized that they kind of make a poem / story. So every sentence is a different part of the book. So I'm going to read you my shortened poem called Deep Trouble 2.
Holy shit, yeah.
Ready?
Yes.
Neon, bright fish darted in and out of the delicate holes. I stretched a finger towards its throbbing purple belly. My finger tickled the purple belly. The two ugly creatures slapped together. His fingers were dripping with the thick white slime. Rub, rub, rub. We flew up into the air. She flew up into the air and disappeared into the white foam. I wiped the sweet liquid from my chin. And I had one question. A question I was afraid to ask out loud. How were we ever going to get off? Those are all separate sentences.
Wow.
My favorite sentence, this is like the weirdest sentence he's ever written. It's rub, period.
Rub. Now.
Yeah, so those are all different sentences put together. It makes this crazy story about like fucking and finger fucking an octopus, and then it comes so hard that you explode.
Yeah.
And then now that she disappeared, how are you ever, now that you lost your partner in a cum blast, how are you ever gonna get off?
I'm inking. I'm stinking for an inking, Dave.
What did you not like?
Oh boy. Well, I mentioned a couple things. Oh, on page 22, this is just kind of funny. I don't dislike it necessarily, but when Billy's trying to figure out like what prank should I pull, it says the shark trick with the pillow had backfired. Oh yeah, earlier in the book he like grabs a pillow and tries to make it into a shark fin in the water. So I really owed her 2 tricks. Maybe I could leave something gross in her bed. Which, I mean, obviously he's talking about taking a big shit. On page 23, and really they both do this, they call their uncle Dr. D all the time, which is insane, right? Like,
yeah. I think that's why the TV show switched it to Uncle Harold, because I was like, why would they do that? Just keep it as, and I'm like, oh, actually, they probably wanted it to be relatable, because it's crazy that you call your uncle Dr. D.
Like, why don't they call him Uncle George in this book? Yeah. And then, on page 60, when they have their first encounter with Dr. Ritter, and Dr. Ritter's like, I'm going to kill your niece and nephew. Dr. Ritter says, your experiments sound interesting, Dr. Ritter. My uncle said, I'd like to hear more. Are they working? And meanwhile, there's like 2 grown men accosting his niece and nephew and threatening to murder them. He's like, oh, this sounds really cool. Like, what's going on with it? Can you tell me a little more? And
fucking
then
Goldar's there, and
yeah, exactly. And on page 70, Rita Repulsa, and on page 70,
Jesse and James are there.
The seagulls that have talons, I just thought was a bit much. Oh yeah, on page 39, this is also just a funny thing I liked, but it's it says. And then she saw it too. It was hard to miss. A monster, a big creature blocked the passage. And it reminded me of when a big creature blocked my passage. Worth it. Good joke.
Good joke.
Dave, how about you? What's your bad?
For a book that's all about things being bigger than they should.
Yes.
Metaphors, size comparisons, anything should be on point.
Yes.
They were so confusing.
Yeah.
So everything was like as big as a whale.
Yeah.
Like and stuff. But like when you compare something to something that's very similar, I feel like it's just not great effect.
Yeah.
So for example, the shark was as big as a whale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. But then they say the shark was it was as long as a canoe. And I was like, a canoe and a whale are very different.
Yeah, also a canoe is like the size of a normal shark.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird. It held a fish the size of a large dog.
Okay. Those exist.
Weird things to compare.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Like a large dog. And also it's like when you have to say like, it's, I don't know. Like imagine being like, that branch is the size of a large novelty pencil. It's like not like a normal pencil.
Yeah, you're really reaching. The crab too, I remember they're like, oh, it's the size of a card table, but then it's pinchers, he downsizes them. He says they're like the size of like some salad tongs or something. And I'm like, well, that's a fucking normal crab.
It's weird. Everything's just so off.
Yeah.
And then this, of course, I can't identify it, Dr. D went on. I've never seen a fish this size that looks like this. I've been searching through all my books and I can't find it. Fucking idiot. And then he's like, my goldfish were gigantic. They filled my cabin. They were the size of small whales. Like, again, if you have to describe it as the thing.
Yeah.
You can't be like a truck is like the size of a big car. Like it's just
It doesn't work. Yeah.
a small whale. Come on.
Yeah.
This I just hated because it was just so like. Because the book does have a Jurassic Park vibe and the a little bit, and so does the TV show. But he said, "I feel like I'm living in some kind of dinosaur world." I said, "Only instead of dinosaurs, we're surrounded by giant sea creatures."
I miss that. I hate that.
Yeah. It's like being in like a fucking, I don't know, like dog farm or some shit, like where they breed dogs, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's like I'm in Jurassic Park, just instead of." Or like you're at a zoo and you're like, it's like I'm in Jurassic Park. Instead of having dinosaurs, they have normal zoo animals. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's like, yeah, he's in the ocean, so he's like, it's like being on land, but instead of land animals, there are fish. It's like, yeah, we fucking know. You're in the ocean.
This coffee is like soda, except it doesn't taste like soda.
Less sugar and a completely different liquid.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's
different
the same.
temperature.
Yeah.
But I'm using my mouth.
Yeah. It's like, well, that wasn't the original point.
Yeah. It's like dinosaurs in that they are living creatures that are, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not even about like, it was like being surrounded by ancient animals or something. It was just like, they're like dinosaurs, but not dinosaurs. Fish.
Yeah. It's like, great. That was necessary.
Yeah. Shut up, Billy. All right. Top spook and scare. We're at that point.
I think my top spook and scare is that I can't procure any of this growth hormone, any of this plankton to put in my little pee hole. Maybe get a big old pungus. You know what I mean?
Well, your pungus would probably turn into like a coral reef or something.
Oh, that's a good point. I'd have like an eel for a dick.
I just pictured you, but your dick is the eel from Mario 64. And there's like a star hiding in your balls, and we gotta wait for it to.
Each one of my balls is that orb dog thing from
the
Rainbow Road.
The chain chomp.
Yep, the chain chomp.
We called it orb dog.
Orb dog.
Remember, we'd be like orb dog when we were playing.
Well, it barks.
Mario 64.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Dave?
When they're on the boat in open water, that was horrifying. Open water is so scary, especially when there's giant sharks and just massive things. You know stuff's fucked up. Mm-hmm. You are in the center of the ocean, and there's points where like the waves are just crushing over them, and they have to bail out or they're gonna sink.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't even fall asleep because if we don't actively hang on to this raft, we'll be thrown off.
Yeah.
Like that's scary.
The idea of being in the ocean on a little raft is fucking terrifying.
And knowing there are massive creatures there.
For sure. Yeah. Just the ocean is scary. Yeah.
I found there is a phobia.
Yes.
That I realize I have. And I watched the video on it.
Oh. Do tell. What does the DSM say about this, Dave?
It's a submechanophobia.
Okay.
Submechanophobia is the fear of submerged man-made objects.
Oh, yeah.
Either partially or entirely underwater.
Yeah.
And what it really goes into is underwater animatronics scare the shit out of me.
Oh, what, like a vessel that explores the Titanic kind of a thing?
No, I would never get into a pool that like the fucking like Jaws animatronic is in at the same time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Underwater animatronics, like the robots in the water, like I like that would I would send myself to hell. Like I would not want to be there. Like I would not. Yeah, I fucking hate the idea of those.
Yeah, that's fair. Would you ever get in a submarine that was going down?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would. It's just like a thing. I know it's fine. I'm not like freaked out. Like I go on I've been on rides with that shit and Jaws and all that stuff, but it's like animatronic things because I'm like think about the Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios. At the end, a giant Tyrannosaurus like screams at you when you're going down. What if like something shifted and it moved forward and screaming and it missed the bite and it just like chopped your fucking head off? Or like what if you get your legs stuck in a giant like shark robot that's like gears and stuff, and it just pulls your leg under, and you're stuck with a gross shark, and you're underwater, and you die.
Yeah. That's
It's
a
fucked
concern.
up.
That's a concern.
It's fucked up. Watch the video. You'll be afraid of them too.
Yeah. I see why that's frightening. I don't want to be in a submarine. I don't want to be, I barely want to fly. I mean, it's fine. I just don't really, I mean, who wants to fly now anyway? Anyway, we should continue.
What do we do now? Best dress?
Best dress. Well, I'm going to say Jacobus's little fish on the front here. He looks pretty fucked up. How about you, Dave?
I'm going to say it is Mel. Who's one of the dudes when he becomes a marlin. Because I just thought this was very cute. Marlin. When Dr. Ritter made him drink the fish jizz, and he says, "Give it another minute," Dr. Ritter insisted. "I know it works. I tried it on my assistant, Mel, last night. He's swimming around out there playing tag with a blue marlin right now."
Oh, that is very cute. That's very nice.
It's very cute.
What's your alt?
Oh, fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have one. I would say butt bubbles, like I farted in the bathtub. How about that?
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Butt bubbles too.
Yeah.
The juice is loose. Yeah, what?
Dr. Deep.
Great.
Dr. Deep in shit. Again. Dr. Deep in shit again.
That's great. Hey, if you're updating the Calling All Creeps wiki, make sure you get that transcribed right. Dr. Deep in shit again. I think it looks on paper. It would look really good.
Yeah, we'll work on the movie poster.
Great. Who's the witch? Well, I think it's Dr. Ritter.
Dr. Ritter for sure.
Absolutely. Who's the luscious liquor here? Is it?
Oh. It's got to be that jellyfish, that frothy jellyfish.
Yeah, I think 100%. It's slapping
like
around
licking its
all
own
over the
pussy
place.
And shit.
Yep. Yeah. Licking its own pussy. And then, Brian, is this my pube? You tell us what is up with that pube. And I think that'll do it for old Deep Dave and old Crispin. Am I right?
Sure is, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm trying to think. No.
Let me think. Oh, no.
The next book is, what is it, like Spooky School or some shit?
Yeah.
Haunted School.
Haunted School. 3 to go, Dave. No, 4 to
go. Fuck, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's technically, because there's, so there's 4?
Yeah.
The next one is 59. Why didn't he just make 10? He could have gotten
10 more to go. I know.
Well, he did 62. He just needed fucking 4 more.
Yeah.
4 more.
Well, that's it. As always, we love you. We think you're doing great. And take care of yourself and appreciate your little penis or your little vagina. And, your nays. I hope they're great. Your babas. I hope they're doing well. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we wish you a healthy and large penis.
That's right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.